Hi there, Ife Judge here. Welcome to day nine of your 21 days to transformation. For those that have been journeying with me from day one, I hope it's been going well for you. I hope you've been practicing the things that we've been talking about. If you're just joining this for the first time, this is a challenge to transform your life. This is a challenge to apply the different tools that I'm speaking about in these 21 days to transform your life. And so you want to go back to day one and follow through from day one to this point, and then you can keep on with it. Most of the videos are short. I think just a few are over 15 minutes. So you want to go back and follow through to this point so that you don't miss any part of it, and so you can apply the entire thing and have exactly what it is that you're supposed to have and build exactly what it is you're supposed to build of yourself through this journey. All right. Today, I'll be speaking about staying centered. I was speaking about staying centered. What this means essentially is that ability to maintain a calm state, right? That ability to stay in balance, that ability to stay in focus, especially in the face of challenges or stressful situations, or when a person experiences a state of anxiety, whatever it is, the ability to stay in a calm state, the ability to maintain balance and maintain focus, right? It is that state of being rooted in empowering beliefs and values and a strong sense of who we are. It is that state of being rooted in empowering beliefs, values, and a strong sense of who we are, right? And the idea is that you're not swayed by emotions, you're not swayed by circumstances, you're not swayed by the opinion of others. And those are things that we critically would face, right? If you're on a journey to transformation, if you're on a journey to becoming all that you can be, if you're on a journey to fulfilling all that God has called you to fulfill, it is not unlikely that you're going to come face to face with naysayers. You're going to come face to face with people that will criticize you or judge you for what you're doing, right? The sense of being centered is that regardless of the noise outside of you, you're able to remain rooted and grounded in what you believe, in where you're headed, in what your vision is, right? You're able to remain rooted and grounded and focused on the vision and the goal. What that looks like in reality is you having strong emotional stability. That's what it looks like in reality. Strong emotional stability is you having clarity of purpose, is you having that single eye to commit to your purpose. You have clarity of mind. A double-minded man is unstable in his ways. You have clarity of mind. That's what it looks like. You're grounded in faith. You're grounded in faith. You're grounded in the things you believe, your purpose, your values, your vision. You're grounded in the things you believe. That's what it looks like in reality. And then you are resilient. Right? You're resilient. You're resilient. That's the ability to remain aligned to the things that you're set to do. Right? You're focused, firmly aligned to the things that you've set to do. All right. When you're centered, you experience these as your reality. All right. You experience these as your reality. Why staying centered is critical is because it's the elimination of all the noise and all the distractions and all the chaos that life in itself is capable of creating. Now, whether we like it or not, because we live in this world, there is distraction. It can be distraction of people, distraction of situations, the distraction of challenges, distraction of self, even the distraction of our emotions, right? But if you live in this world, in this flesh, there is distraction. And so staying centered is that way to eliminate that noise, to eliminate that distraction, to eliminate all the chaos. Because in chaos, you can't have or experience sustained productivity. You cannot experience sustained productivity in chaos. Chaos in itself is just the multiplication of distractions. It's the multiplication of distractions, right? It is scattered focus. It is you experiencing weakness in terms of committing to priorities. It is you experiencing weakness in terms of committing to priority. It is you having decision fatigue, the inability to make indecision, right? It is you procrastinating. It is you delaying important action. It is you finding yourself misaligned with purpose and meaning. It is you being misaligned with purpose and meaning. The idea that you feel daily the drain of not having a strong sense of purpose, or not having a strong sense of meaning, of not understanding what your core contributions to the world is, right? Chaos, the presence of chaos and distractions create all of that. Now, what that would mean for a person that has that going for them is that they would lack mental clarity and focus. They will experience increased stress, right? And so if you have perpetual stress and anxiety and indecision in your life, then that means that you're not staying centered. It means that you're not staying centered. It means that there's an overwhelming presence of confusion and chaos and distractions in your life. When you're experiencing increased stress and anxiety and indecision, you would find that you lack systems and structures and routines to lead your life by. A critical way for a person to commit to productivity is to have systems, right? Is to have systems that enable you to stay grounded, systems that enable you to make progress, systems that enable you to remain in balance, right? And so the presence of chaos will most likely mean the lack of systems. So when you lack systems, when you lack structures, when you lack routines that run the course of your life or help you to manage and keep your life in balance, then that's obvious that chaos has created that. You would find yourself consistently drained emotionally. Now, you cannot worry in your mind perpetually and not be drained. You cannot worry in your mind perpetually and not be drained. That's obviously proof of the fact that you're not centered, right? And on this journey to personal transformation, where you want to be your most effective self, where you want to be your most productive self, one of the critical things that you need is to stay and be centered, because with the distractions come a redundancy, a stagnation, and a drawback from progress. With the distractions come a redundancy and stagnation and a drawback from progress. And so if you want to make progress with your life, this is something you want to pay attention to. You want to avoid dealing with mental chaos, emotional chaos, physical chaos, spiritual chaos, health chaos, relationship chaos. And the truth is, the moment one area of your life becomes chaotic, it has the ability to filter into the others. And so you don't want to permit any of these imbalances in your life. So the next thing I want to take you through is how do you handle these things and come to a balanced, harmonious, and centered state, right? How do you do that? You want to mentor your thoughts. You want to manage your thoughts. You want to stay mindful of what is going on with you. You want to set your priorities right. You want to organize yourself, right? If I am in charge of what's going on in my mind or what's going through my mind, then largely, I'm able to manage what is going on in my life. We've spoken about the power of positive self-talk. You understand that losing that power puts you in a position where you lose control of your mental state. And so you want to stay mindful, right? You want to stay mindful. You want to stay mindful of what's going into you. You want to stay mindful of what's coming out of you. You want to stay mindful of what's going on inside of you. And so I'd say mentor your thoughts, mentor your emotions, stay mindful. Guard your heart with all diligence. Be responsible for what gets into you. Be responsible for what you place yourself around. Be responsible for who you communicate with. Now, there are people that expose themselves to all forms of negative experiences and negative realities, and those things begin to inform what goes on in your mind, begins to inform what goes on in your thoughts, begin to inform the things you fear and the things you consider as possibilities in your life. You want to mentor your thoughts. You want to be in charge of what happens in your thoughts. And so set your priorities right. Like, what exactly is my life about, and what should I be making sure that I expose myself to, and what should I make sure I don't expose myself to? Now, the truth is that we become what we are exposed to, not what we want to become. Right? We become what we are exposed to. And so what you pay attention to creates your inner state, right? What you pay attention to creates your inner state. In the same way, practice self-awareness. You want to practice self-awareness. You want to be conscious of how your mind is working per time, right? You want to stay in that place where you can deal with your emotions appropriately. You want to master emotional intelligence. And we've gone through emotional mastery, right? So you want to go to that and master emotional intelligence. You want to come to the place where you can practice awareness. You can curiously manage your thoughts and manage your emotions. You can curiously question everything that is happening with you. And something you want to pay attention to is you don't want to do life alone, right? You shouldn't do life alone. I mean, isolation is an easy way to depression. And the truth is, in support, we'll find ourselves thriving better. In support, we find ourselves thriving better. And so you don't want to put yourself in a position where you do life alone. You want to commit to a community of people that are going in the same direction as you. All right? You want to commit to a people that are going in the same direction as you. Now, there's this African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Now, you can go nowhere very fast going alone. You can go nowhere very fast going alone. It's beautiful to have people, right? When you created for isolation, it's beautiful to have people. So you want to commit to having a strong community of people around you that can empower you and keep you in balance from time to time. You want to be compassionate to yourself. Now, there's that place where, based on past experiences, sometimes even based on your family of origin or the environment of origin or areas where you found yourself or the exposures you've had, there are people who continuously blame themselves for things they were not in control of. Right? You want to come to the place where you're compassionate to yourself for things you haven't gotten right yet. Be compassionate to yourself. What you want to do is stay centered and stay focused about where you're going and disallow the noise that has been created from where you're coming from. Right? Disallow the noise that has been created by where you're coming from. Stay focused on where you're going. Allow compassion for yourself and your past. And it really doesn't matter whether you've made mistakes until this day. Stay focused about what you're creating. For your physical centeredness, you want to ensure that you pay attention to you, pay attention to what you look like, pay attention to what you feel like per time, pay attention to your space, organize your space. All right, create routines and systems and structures to support your life and your work. You want to do that. You want to check out for areas that you're disorganized and create routines. You want to check out for areas that you're perpetually disoriented or destabilized and create order in those areas. Now, like I said, productivity is harder in a place of chaos. And so you want to create order and systems and structures that will run your life. You want to prioritize rest. You want to exercise. You want to keep your body fit. You want to ensure that you are committing to eating healthy, right? And keeping your body in order. Right? And for spirituality, you want to remain connected to your source. Everyone alive has to be connected to something for their wellness, for their meaning, for their balance. All right? You want to connect to that. You want to connect to that because the entirety of your life gains its energy, gains its power, gains its strength from that source. You know why? All the things that cause chaos in a person's life, I believe, stem from the burdens that we carry that we shouldn't be carried. And so you want to connect to source spiritually. You want to connect to the creator. You want to connect to the source of existence. You want to connect to the source of life. You want to connect to the source of life. You want to be there, centered there. You want to draw life from there. You want to draw strength from there. You want to draw power from there. You want to live your life based on directions from that source. Now, it is easier to follow appropriate values and vision and beliefs, and it is easier to love yourself and love others when you're connected there. For relationships, you want to find stability in your relationships by setting boundaries, right? You want to find stability in your relationship by loving yourself first. Now, when you love yourself, every other thing flows from there. The quality of love you can give to others is premised on the quality of love you've given yourself. And so you want to love yourself, right? And the love for others will flow from there. You want to set boundaries. You want to set boundaries to empower your relationships. Now, I know that when people talk about setting boundaries, they mean many things. For some, setting boundaries is to disallow people from connecting with you or disallow people from intruding your space and all of that stuff. The way I look at setting boundaries is this, that the boundaries that you set empower people to have their best experience with you. And so the reason I have boundaries set in my life is so that the people that are related to me, so that the people that have experiences with me, so that the people that do life with me can have their best experiences with me. And so they know when to access and when not to. They know how to access and how not to. That's the goal of the boundaries. That's the goal of the boundaries. All right. You want to emphasize the boundaries you set to empower the relationships that you have around you to have their best experience with you. All right. You want to learn beforehand to practice forgiveness. Now, people will hurt you. A lot of the disability that people face in areas of relationship is because they haven't come to the place where they understand that to be human is to err. At different levels, that's the reality. And so, for you to do this right, to forgive, is also part of our humanity. Because the only way we would not have effective relationships with people is when we raise people up to a point where we are expecting perfect behavior from them all the time. Now, when people err, your ability to forgive is what creates sustenance for the relationship that you have together. And so you want to learn that. You want to practice that. You want to practice forgiveness actively. You want to let people go from your heart and your mind. You want to keep yourself free. All right? You want to keep yourself free. And you can take out all the chaos in the sphere of relationships and keep yourself at peace. You want to ensure that you prioritize your health. You want to prioritize sleep. You want to prioritize rest. You want to prioritize appropriate nutrition. You want to seek counsel for appropriate nutrition. I mean, there are things you would eat that would empower your body. There are things you would eat that would demoralize your body. You want to pay attention to what you're doing in the areas of your health. Seek professional counsel if you need to. And personally, the way I stay centered is my life is consistently anchored on the words of God, right? It's not like I don't see what's going on in the world. I do. We're experiencing the world together, all of us. We're experiencing the world together, but how do I do what I do? How am I able to show up and be the succor point for many who are still trying to find their stability and their balance? My life is anchored on the words of God. He's told me to not be anxious for anything, but in everything, by prayer and supplication, to make my request known to him. And he says that his peace will guard my heart. Guess what? Every time, that's my expression. Every time, that's my position. Every time, that's my commitment. And the peace that he grants hasn't left my heart. And so I remain in a state of perpetual peace because of what I've anchored myself to. I know that when I seek him first, I know every other thing will be added to me. And so I don't go chasing dreams or chasing things. I'm positioned in a way that all these things will be added to me. Now, my peace remains sustained, doing what I do purposefully, meaningfully, and not in the hustle and bustle that life compels people to, because I understand what the source I have anchored myself to has said. And so I trust his leadership for my life. So it has taken away every need to be distracted by what the world is saying, by what popular culture is saying, because I'm anchored on his leadership. I understand that the young lion might suffer and be in want, but they that put their trust in him will not be put to shame. I'm anchored there. I'm anchored there. And I ensure to stay in community with solid humans. I ensure to stay in community with solid humans. I have a strong brotherhood that I nurture from time to time. I have strong friendships, right? I don't have many of them, but I have strong friendships. I have people that look out for me like I look out for them. I have a loving family that I commit myself to and ensure that I stay grounded with. And I stay grateful. I stay grateful for the life I have because I understand that in all things give thanks. And as much as you commit to giving thanks in all things, you would find that all things work together for good. Many times it's in hindsight that we realize things that we were once hurt or pained by were inconsequential. It could have been very consequential at the time. It could have meant a lot to us at the time. But in hindsight, many times you find out that things that you thought were going to take you down didn't. How about if you had stayed grateful from the start? How about if you had stayed anchored to the idea that all things work for your good from the start? You'd have saved yourself from the worries and the chaos of the time. All right. And so I remain in peace perpetually, knowing that all things work together for my good. So I remain grateful. And I love myself. I love myself. I mean, I'm able to do all that I do to and with everybody else that I do things for and with because I love myself. I love myself so much. Like there's no time you're ever going to catch me say anything negative about myself. Even times when I err or times when I go wrong, look, I'm quick to forgive myself because I understand that the one who I'm connected to forgives me that quickly. And so I don't hold myself down to anything that is unproductive or anything that hasn't been said about me. I keep myself centered to the things that have been said about me. I'm God's masterpiece. And I live like that. I stay that positive. I stay that positive because I know that I've been created unto good works that have been pre-planned, meaning there is no error or mistake with the life that I'm living. It is all directed toward a plan that showcases the light of God in me. I stay that positive. I understand that I have just one job, to shine as light. And so I will. I'd like to know what you do to stay centered. Or I'd like to know what you want to start to do. I'll see you tomorrow.